Hidden in the story of Hansel and Gretel are secrets. Secrets of living longer, healthier, and happier. You remember the story, right, as a kid? Two siblings get lost in the woods when their breadcrumbs fail to lead them home. They actually get distracted and enticed by a witch who lives in a gingerbread house deep in the woods. Now, the witch tries to starve Gretel and force Gretel to fatten up her brother. But eventually, they escape along with the witch's treasure and return home to the ones they love. So what are the secrets? What are the secrets of living longer, happier, and healthier in a story like Hansel and Gretel? Well, the first secret is don't focus on your breadcrumbs because they're less than 30% of your journey. Research indicates that your lifespan, your journey, is determined less than 30% by genetics. 70% or more is lifestyle and environment. So when you go to the physician's office and you fill out those family health history forms, and if you're like me and you look at that and you go, oh, is that my destiny? Remember, genetics are less than 30%, and those are just the generational breadcrumbs of your past. But what you do today, what you do in the future to impact your lifestyle, your environment, that has a much greater impact. So don't focus on your breadcrumbs. Focus on your journey ahead. The second secret in Hansel and Gretel is invest in good friends. Stay away from witches. It's really easy to get distracted and enticed by people who live or at least represent themselves as living in these bright, colorful, sugar-coated worlds. Kind of sounds like social media, right? But instead, invest in good friends who don't sugarcoat their world nor their words, but instead, they love you for who you are, and instead of wanting to keep you in the woods, they want to give you strength through the woods. Strong social connections can help reduce the risk of many health conditions. They can help reduce the risk of depression, stress, anxiety. They can also help you maintain a healthy weight. Which brings me to the third secret. Don't let your family fatten you up with their cooking. And I'm going to tell you, it is hard to be both Southern and skinny, and I blame my mama who makes those good biscuits and gravy. But there's a lesson to be had in both Hansel and Gretel. Neither overeating like Hansel or undereating like Gretel, but instead achieving a healthy weight through healthy diet and physical activity, because it can help reduce the risk of chronic conditions as well as the risk of early morbidity. So, invest in good friends. Don't let your family fatten you up with their cooking. And the last is, in your life's journey, you're going to come across treasures, sometimes like ideas worth sharing. Take those back and share them with the ones you love. That's what I want to do today. Share my story with those that I love. My family, my friends, my neighbors, you. Now, my story is not exactly like Hansel and Gretel's, but it does begin and end with the lessons that I learned alongside my own brother. We spent plenty of time in the woods in Northwest Georgia. We ate our fair share of graham crackers, candy, and cake. We also escaped some times of trouble until my brother had a car accident that broke his neck when he was only 17 years old. It left him a quadriplegic. I was 12 at the time. And obviously, it changed my brother's life, but it also changed my family's life. And it instilled a fear and a worry in me that would last a lifetime. So when I chose a career, that fear and that worry was reinforced because I chose a career in the health insurance industry. It's a nonprofit, Georgia-based company that was founded by healthcare providers. And so we regularly talk about health conditions, health challenges within our community. Things like heart disease, diabetes, stroke, Alzheimer's, depression, suicide, accidents. Those are problems that are not just in my community, but they're also prevalent within my own family. When I married my husband, who is almost 2 decades older than me, I really worried. Just like Gretel, I was so concerned that I was going to lose my family too soon. So I began to read, I began to search, trying to figure out ways to live longer and healthier. And that's when I found the research that genetics play 30% or less in your lifespan, 70% or more lifestyle and environment. So for the first time, I had hope. I had hope for meaningful change, not just for my family, but for my community. So I got a group of people together from various organizations, obviously the health plan, the hospital system, the physicians, nonprofits, and we came together for one reason: to improve the lifespan of our community, to figure out ways to share with people this research that you can live longer, healthier, and happier by changing lifestyle and environment, by improving our community together. And we came up, because you have to package it, you have to communicate it. So we came up with 4 concepts that were both distinct, but also closely linked. And we packaged them into one powerful word: live. Live. Lifestyle. Invest in one another, not witches. Value preventive health, and eat, drink, and be merry. We had the vehicle, we had the language to talk about how to live longer and healthier. But we also knew that there was something missing from that. For people to change behaviors, for it to really make an impact, you have to connect hearts and minds. So we looked for the why. And we began to ask the question, what are you living for? What gives you hope, peace, joy, strength, and meaning in life? The answer to that question became our it. What are you living for? Live for it. And that's how Live For It was born. We had a kickoff in September of 2019. It was really kind of a party in the park where we invited all those different organizations, and we invited their families because it's important to impact environment where we work and where we live. And the point was to have fun. It was not about handing out information, although we handed out information, but it was more about having fun, playing games. We had music, we danced, we did simple health checks. We invited local restaurants in so that we could show everybody that there are healthy options at our local restaurants. And we asked people, what are you living for? They thought about it, they articulated it, they wrote it down, and they put it on the wall, our it wall. Live for it. And so a few months later, as we all know, the pandemic hit. So our plans changed. We could no longer have large gatherings. We could no longer have small gatherings for that matter. But we used that time as a gift so that we could create more language and more ways to communicate and touch people's lives. And we did. We began to spread the information around Live For It, how to live longer, healthier, happier. And we began to ask people, again, what are you living for? And give them ways to share that back with us. And we had heartwarming stories that were shared with us where people had gone on spiritual journeys. Stories of joy and peace. They shared with us their successes and their challenges. They talked about their individual it's, their kids, their parents, their grandparents, their pets, trips that they were dreaming of, that they not only wanted to live long enough to go on, but they wanted to be healthy enough to enjoy. And of course, we do live in Georgia, so there are plenty of it stories about Georgia football. But the it stories were as unique as the journeys of each individual. But I realized, as I was asking everybody else, what are you living for? What are you living for? I realized I didn't know what I was living for. Since the age of 12, when my brother got hurt, I was consumed with his it. I wanted to make sure he had joy and peace. I wanted to make sure he had strength and meaning in life. Now, granted, at the age of 12, I didn't have that language, but that didn't change where my heart was. As long as we were Hansel and Gretel in the woods together, I had a purpose. I had a passion. But just a few years before Live For It began, he met an amazing woman and he got married. He and my dad started a successful business, and he was hitting all those milestones, everything that I had ever wanted for him. So what happened is he hit each of those milestones. I began to lose my own passion and purpose. I didn't know what my it was without looking for his it. So I began looking for joy. You got to start somewhere. And as pathetic as it sounds, I didn't know what I enjoyed. So I realized that I got some amount of joy when the sun would hit my face. So I started sitting in the sun just a few minutes, but a few minutes each day. But each morning, I realized that the fear and worry laid on me like a blanket before the sun would rise. So I started looking for hope. When you're looking for hope, you'll find it. I could hear the birds as clear and loud first thing in the morning just before dawn, as if to say, we've survived and we're here to live another day. So I used it as my first moment of gratefulness to say thank you. I've survived, and thank God I will live another day. I found peace while I was sitting by the creek in the mountains. My family gave me meaning to my life. I'm a closet introvert, so spending time with other people is hard for me. But I knew that when I spent time with my inner circle of friends, I found strength. Live For It became the treasure that I found in the woods that helped me go through the woods. I want to encourage you during your life's journey, learn lessons from Hansel and Gretel. Don't focus on your breadcrumbs. They're just a small part of your journey. Focus on your lifestyle and environment, things that you can control. Invest in good friends and meaningful relationships. Value preventive health, establishing healthy daily habits, not just in activity, but in nutrition. Eat, drink, and be merry. Find what gives you hope, peace, joy, and meaning in life. Sometimes when we're trying to write our story or rewrite our narrative, find solutions for our family, friends, our community, or our world. Sometimes it starts with a simple question. What are you living for? And then live for it. Thank you.